Hi guys, it's Belle here, and it is time to work on a couple more prompts for hashtag TheOddtober24, hosted by the lovely April over at Pink Oddbird in collaboration with the wonderful Priscilla over at Release Crafting. All links will be down below. And are you like me? Are you feeling a little bit sad? We're coming to the end, guys. The end of the prompts also means the end of October. It just fills me with the sads, all the sads, but we're just going to go with it. So I have once again worked on one of the tags off camera and will be working on one on camera. It just helps me kind of, with all the film I'm doing and everything, it helps me kind of make sure I'm keeping on track of the prompts so that I will be finished by October 31st. So we've just gone into the cottage in the wood. And a little old kind lady was in there, the same one that was in the gallery wall in the treehouse. And she gives us a cup of tea and says, this will help you get to where you need to go. So prompt 27, where am I going? Are you coming with me? I exclaim. She simply smiles at me and places a note in my hand and tells me to read it when I arrive. Hands up, guys. How many of you would wait until you arrive wherever it is to read the note, or how many of you, as soon as you leave the cottage, are opening that note to find out what it says? Be honest. Let me know in the comments below. So here we have my day for prompt 27, my tag for prompt 27. Now, it's a little bit different. I've used a lot more purple when I've been working on the witches tags. I've just felt drawn to use it. So this hand is from Release the Crafting's Persephone kit. I will leave it down below. I added some purple nails to it because there's purples and blues in the flowers, and it had lots of flowers wrapped around the hand because it's a Persephone and Hades kit. And I thought that worked well because this is a forest witch. This is a witch that is close to nature. There's been lots of nature throughout all these tags. We're walking through a forest. There's ivy, there's plants, there's animals. You know, I love working with nature anyway, or putting nature onto my projects. So this hand worked perfectly for me. I actually reduced the size by 50% so that it fitted on half an A4 sheet, so that it was small enough with the tag. And then I've put it at an angle coming down. The base of the tag itself is the rest of that book, that vintage Scottish horror myth book from that page from that book. You know what I'm saying. That I actually made for the other witches tag, for the one where she's got her shelf, that one that I made. And it has purple and green and vintage photo oxide sprays, as well as some gold mica. And I thought that worked perfectly for the back of this. We're really bringing in the idea of the fairy tale as these tags are going on. And I'd already used that for the back of the witches tag, so I wanted to link it to this. And then I've used, once again, it's this stencil, which is THMSO65. I really like this one, and I've used this, but I've kind of used it at an angle on the tag. You can see that. And then I've used, I can't find the green one, but I've used the Chameleon wax paste in Violet. And this is a Pentari one. And I do have, here's the green one. Again, it's a Pentari wax paste in metallic. And this one is turtle green. So I've used both of these. Oops, sorry for that very loud noise. On these swirls and around. So it's really picking up, and the gold in the background. There were already lots of leaves and flowers, like I said, and the ones that I had to trim off I then put down here, which I really like. I then sliced around the hand and stuck in lots more leaves. Obviously it says the witch's wonderful secret. I've also brought in some purple on the tabs and some green. That's the first time I've used these ones on one of these tabs. And we have our note. What colours did I use? It did have purple, gold and green, and then I really mixed them. I swirled them, so it gives you more this kind of bronzy antique look, which I really like. And this was some scrap paper I had. So when I'm splattering often my projects, I often put some plain coffee dyed paper. No, I don't coffee dye. Tea dyed paper down, and then when I'm splattering my projects, the paper itself then gets, let's see if I've got any other like this, it then gets splattered as well. And I thought that would work really well for this. But we do have an interactive element because obviously she's handing me the note. So I actually left it where these two fingers aren't glued down. I also cut this one out from the background, which you can kind of see. And you can see it's meant to be down like this because the fingers got leaves. There was a lot more leaves and flowers. I cut quite a few back. And you can see a lot more of that detail now on that bit with the book page and everything like that. And there are magnets. There's a magnet here and there's a magnet under here. So when I give the note, do you see that, guys? It just attaches itself. It doesn't come off because it's attached. The two magnets are on the back here. You can, if I pull that up, you can see them. So they attach, which is brilliant. So I know the witch is an older witch, but she's a nature witch. So I kind of went with, this is her hand giving me the note. But obviously I wanted to be able to take it out. So, and we can see the back now as well with those splatters. Obviously it can't be opened. So that's interactive. And then I just splattered it with some black ink. I really like how this tag came out. It's very, I don't know, it gives you that forest witch feel, I think. I added nail polish because there's no nail polish. Did I say that already? There's no nail polish on the hand on the tag. So I just on the hand in the digital kit. So I just added some purple nail polish, purple and green, and you need to go there. There we go. And at first I was only going to put a magnet there, but this kept sort of just being far too flappy for my liking. So that's why I put a magnet there. And listen, we know how I love the sound of magnets. So yes, lots of plants, lots of purple, lots of magical shimmers. And she's given me the note. Prompt for day 28. I'm feeling woozy. I blink a few times and the cottage is gone. I'm back on the path in the woods and before me are bones pointing the way ahead. What was in that drink? Okay, so we have my tag. This is going to be for day 28. Now, I've used the same fern paper that I've used in some of the other tags when I've been working on the forest. So we've got it like this. And this might look a bit weird, but basically this is going to go down on here because I've cut out a rough shape that needs all trimming of where a path's going to be. So that is going to be like that. So let's work on these. Let's get this trimmed down to size first. Again, I wanted the fern wallpaper. It ties my tags together, which is what I like. I like the cohesive nature of that. It uses up the scrap of paper anyway that I'd pulled out to work on one of the other tags. And it represents, you know, all that ferns and woods. It represents the idea of all those plants. I'm going to use some walnut stain on here. I don't know if I'm going to stick this down first. I don't think I am. I'm going to use some walnut stain and then I will come in and use some black soot, and I am going to stitch these into place, which you will see after we've made the path. So I had different ideas for how to make the path. I've used a lot of different texture pastes and stuff, but I wanted to go back to what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually draw a line. I just had a pencil. I'm going to actually draw a very faint line on this tag. Yeah, I wanted to go back to the basic white texture paste. That's what I wanted to go back to. I was thinking of using the glass beads again, but they do take about 24 hours to dry, and I just didn't want that. So we've got the Distress Grip Paste Opaque, so it's white, and this takes colour really well. And I am literally just going to put this on because I want it to look a bit like a dirt path, which, to be honest, the glass beads would have worked brilliantly for that. But let's get, actually, but with this, I can put this on and then I can kind of just use the spatula to give it some texture, almost like you're walking on mud. I want to just put this down. This is another reason I am going to be stitching, because this might get under where the paper is, because I do need it to go butt up right to the edge of where the paper is going to be. And I need to then ink this, which I don't want to do with the paper on here, because the ink sprays can really go, you know, cover a lot of an area. And I don't really want, at the moment, I might want to add some ink spray to the top, but for right now, I just want to mainly have it darker on this path. And you can see I'm giving texture by just, as I said, just really, just even picking up and putting down my spatula knife, my palette, what am I talking about? My palette knife on here. So yeah, we're going to make our path. These prompts really do have such a great fairy tale feel, which really appeals to me. I love fairy tales. I love the originals, which are dark, guys. I mean, it makes me laugh now when people say, oh, kids can't watch that or such and such. And I think original fairy tales, they were horrific. They were scary, you know, and used to actually keep children in line and women. And they were scary. So the original, yes, the original fairy tales and Grimm's Brother and all that kind of things, and lots of other fairy tales from around the world. There are more people than just the Grimm's Brothers and Hans Christian Andersen doing fairy tales. Even if they are great ones, there are more people. And if you're really interested in things like that, I really recommend going over to Release the Crafting. They do like a story time video where you get to watch them craft. They don't really talk about the craft, you just watch them make it, but they tell you a story. And at the moment they're doing a lot of kind of fairy tale and myth. They did myth retellings, fairy tale, scary urban legends, and Priscilla is the best storyteller that I have ever listened to. And actually, why did I pick up the black one? If I'm feeling, they make me chuckle so much. We think very similarly. And whenever I'm feeling a little bit, having one of those days, I will put on one of Priscilla's stories, because it immediately just makes me cheer up and makes me laugh, and that's what we want. But if you really like that kind of, let's go back and hear the original kind of takes on things, they kind of do a rough, not, oh, this is the exact story from this exact source. They take the sources and kind of tell you the story. But that's a lot of fun. And I love fairy tales. I love retellings. I love watching them. I like the originals. I mean, I just love it all. So these prompts have really, really appealed to me. So you can see the texture on there. I am going to go dry this. Obviously, it is better to leave texture paste to dry on its own. But I don't have time for that today. So I'm going to use my heat tool. And hopefully that will work well enough that we can start using inks on it. Okay, so one tip I would give you if you are going to dry your texture paste, obviously it's better to leave it to dry overnight, but if you are going to dry it, one tip I would give you is, if it's a project like this that you can lift up, heat it from behind and on front, because that means you're getting the back texture paste as dry, so the underneath bit, as you are the top. So that's what I would suggest. We're going to use the splatter box. And I'm gonna bring in, obviously, some Distress Oxide in Vintage Photo. And like I said, I don't mind. This is another reason that I took the papers off, because you can see they're going to get all over the place. And we may need several coats of this ink. I want to actually move the ink onto the path. Because it's mainly on here. Because obviously this is bobbly. So, but also because those edges may not be perfectly butted up to the paper, it's good to have some brown on there. I'm going to bring a little bit of green in. I'm going to bring in a little bit of the cracked pistachio. Let's get closer to that. Really need to wash this. Okay, right, you don't want to work. I need my pipette, that's what I need. Let's bring that in. And actually, while we're at it, let's really get close with the oxide spray too. I mean, it doesn't matter if there's some white on here. This is going to be soaking wet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dry that a little bit. I want to try and bring down some of that into. I'm going to dry that a little bit, and then we're going to continue and see what that looks like. Can I just say, oh my goodness, it's so beautiful like that. And I almost feel bad that we're going to waste some of that yumminess on the tag. But we are. So it is what it is. Let me find. Now I also need to work on cleaning out my Distress Oxide for the black soot, because that's not spraying either, but that's okay. I know I've got a pipette somewhere, and that would work so well in places. So we're just going to put this on, and we've got stuff to put on here anyway. And I'm going to spray this to try and get some of that black moving in spaces. That's what I'm going to do. So we're just building up the layers. Yes. I've run out of water in this one. Thank goodness I've got another one. Let's grab that one. There we go, more water. Yes. Get that movement. And I feel like I still want a touch more green. I mean, it's blending together, but I just want that touch more green in places. Almost like the moss has, because this is obviously meant to be mud. And And it's almost like the moss in the mud. It doesn't have to be too bright, but it's just there. So, oh, that's very thingy there. I did a large dot there. Okay, I'm going to dry that and then I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, I've tried to dry it as well as I possibly can, front and back. It still feels a little bit damp, but not too bad. So let's bring in, oh my goodness, guys. I love that. I already love it. Okay, I'm very, very happy. And I was a bit worried at first that maybe there was too much of the white showing up underneath, but I don't think there is. I actually think it's really good that we have a little bit of the white because it distinguishes between the forest itself and the path. And so much texture. Obviously, we're wasting all this beautiful ink behind. But again, do you know, I know these products can be expensive and hard to find. But also, I know that a lot of you out there and me don't always use what we have because we're worried about using it up. And we're worried about, we tend to hoard it. And you know what? I've just really been working on the idea that it's okay. It's okay to use these things. And sometimes if we waste some of it, that's okay too. We've brought them to use. I mean, obviously it doesn't help us with the tendency to hoard when we know certain products get discontinued. And they may be some of our favourite ones. I shall say again, the Tim Holtz paper pads. I know it's something I moan about all the time, but it's a real thing for me. And other products like the glassine windows from last year. But you see, let me bring that up. Do you see where, because I didn't get the texture paste right up to the edge, do you see, because we've got some of that ink anyway, it really helps with helping the path blend into the, what's it called? Helping the path blend into the foliage. Now, what I'm going to do is I am actually going to stitch down here exactly like I did when I did the troll bridge and the river. Of course, it doesn't look realistic, but we're not going for realistic. We're going for what represents on a tag. And it keeps this down really well. And also, I just like the look of it. So I'm going to go do that. Okay, guys, I just like that. Now, I could have used a green or brown thread, but I like the black. I've been using it throughout. And in all honesty, I just like the fact that it has that black, a little bit of contrast. So you will have read or heard in the prompt that it says that there are bones pointing the way ahead. So I got some bones. It's from the Sizzix. What one is it? Frightful Things. Can you see that? Frightful Things. And it is 664209 die set. I don't know if they still make it, but I've got this little skull and crossbones that I like. I then got some white paper that was left over, actually. This is the scrap of when I make my tags. I've got these strips left over, so I've been trying to use those up. And then on the other side of this, you will see, I hope, where has that gone to? That I actually painted. Well, you might not be able to see. Let me bring it up. It's actually got paint on it. You probably can't see very well. It's got a slight yellowish tinge that's not picking up on camera very well. But this is some glow-in-the-dark, just simple acrylic paint. I don't know. The brand is the, what is it? Dela Rowney. If you're looking for it, it's 598 there. And it does glow in the dark. So I painted that last night. We're going to make our bones glow. I am going to do a little skull face too, but I'm just going to, you can see I've already cut some out here. And then I had the idea, why am I just making them white? Let's make them glow. So I am going to cut out a lot of bones. A lot, guys. A lot. I'm going to cut out a lot of bones and one skull. And then we're going to use that as our arrows. Okay, so I've cut out a lot of bones. Now, I know most of you might know this, but I know sometimes there's new people watching. Obviously, I've cut this out and this has all been painted. Now, there's a couple of things you can do with this because I'm not going to throw it away. You could use that as a bone stencil because you've created your own stencil. Or because this is glow in the dark, I can literally rip and tear this and use it in my journals as ephemera. So don't throw things like that away. Now, I want to make my bone arrows, and I was thinking of making a large arrow and then, or do we make some small arrows? That would go like that on top of that. I think I'm going to do that. Right, so let us first of all glue some of these together almost like in a crossbones effect, which might mean we might need some more. I might need to cut even more, which, you know, if I do, I do. Let's do, I want at least 3, so that would be 1, 2, and if we had a third one, actually we could get 4. We could get 4 out of this. I'm just got to make sure I've got the sides that have the paint on, because obviously one side of this is white card and the other side is the bit with the paint. I was wondering about going around these in black, but I don't think I want to. I think I want them as is. So we're going to put these on the path as so. And this is where it's going to take a little bit of time to adhere. 1, because we've used all those inks, and 2, because we've used the texture paste to make this very textured. So I just really need to make sure it's glued down super well. We may only need 3 actually. Yeah, we may only need 3. That's okay. Just means I've got a skull and crossbones for another day. We're going this way. I've got to make sure that I leave enough. Oh gosh, it's a bit grey there. That's all right, because, yeah, be aware, obviously, the oxides react with wet mediums and glue is obviously wet. So as I'm laying these down, I need to really think about that. I mean, it doesn't matter too much because they kind of then blend with the path. But obviously I don't want them so blended that they don't look like bones anymore. So you see how this one, hopefully you can see how that one has more green on it. Should have thought about it. That's okay. I really need to press these down. Okay. They look like they're embedded in the dirt. Woo, it's gone spinning. It's having a jolly old time. Okay, so now we're going to come on. And I need to cut this into an arrow shape. Do 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 do. Gosh, thank goodness that fell that way down. Sorry, it just tickles me. It really does. It's the simplest things. Now, obviously, if you don't have this die cut set, that's okay. I could use that one, but they don't look as good, so I'm going to cut another one. That's okay. You don't need it. You can just either draw your own bones and cut those out, because that would work just as well. Or there are digitals out there, obviously, that have bones in the kits. So there are options if you don't have this die set, but you know what? I used to use dies all the time. I am a die cut person rather than a stamp person. I have a lot of stamps, but I just love die cuts. So I have a lot of die cut sets, especially my Tim Holtz ones, because he brings out some really fun ones. And I just don't use them as much as I used to. I used to use them a lot in my card making and my pocket letters, but I don't use them as much, which is why I like to use die cuts in my journals, just because it helps me use up what I have. Like, it means that I'm still using them. And yeah, I just really like them. Oh, I've got to make sure I don't lose my skull. Okay, you might even use the skull and crossbones for the skull. Let's put that over there. Okay, so we have our arrows. Now, I'm hoping to be able to take a picture of this to show you the glow. And I hope it does glow, but we shall see. So what I also have brought in is loads of my die cut flowers, plants. Now I have a lot of these left over, guys, and a lot of them are in a very, very similar colour to the paper. And for me, that's deliberate. You might like more contrast. I like having it almost blend in so that it gives you the texture and the look and all that good stuff without even thinking about bringing in some brown to represent the trees, but I don't know if I will, without actually distracting too much from the actual piece itself. I don't know. It works for me. It may not work for you. You might like more contrast, as I said. But I also don't want to actually cut out any more die cuts. I've cut out a lot of die cuts, guys. These are all inked around as well. I don't want to cut out any more die cuts. Let's make this have black around the edges. And I'm using up all the ones that I did cut out. Like leaves, I mean. Obviously, I die cut the bones, but I'm talking about the leaves. I die cut a lot of leaves for these tags, and I want to use them up. As I said, I like the fact that this has very similar colours to the paper. I want it blended. I want it to give that effect of lost in the woods and everything's kind of looking the same. And you may be like, no, Belle, I don't like it. But there we go. That's why we're all different. And I'm thinking about putting the little skull just down here. And I do want to go around him a little bit in black. I'm thinking about putting him just down there, as if he's watching me go along. I don't know about putting some, like, the bones on him too, whether I want that. I don't think we need the bones, actually. Bones, 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 bones. So yes, loving these tags. I really am enjoying this so much. It's just so different for me. I always work in journals. Even with the ephemera, I make ephemera with the idea of, oh, I need to put that in a journal. And these tags are not meant to be put in a journal. These tags are just tags for the fun of it, which is just something I don't normally do, which is why I'm enjoying it so much. They have no other purpose other than being decorative. Sorry, I'm just tapping that glue off. Other than being decorative and part of the story. And that's just so different for me. I know not everyone works in journals, but it's my thing. So yeah, this is, I mean, I have got this one that's a bit lighter that I might bring over here once it's dulled down a bit. I'm in here, Toffee. if you can hear that, that's my cat crying in the background, wondering why I'm spending so much time at the craft table. I mean, I spend a lot of time at the craft table, but spending time at the craft table not talking to her is a bit... She's not as happy about that. I'm here, Toffee. I bring... Oh my goodness. Anyway. So yes, and I was thinking when I was talking about the fact that I wasted some of that ink, I'm also thinking, you know, a lot of us, we're supposed to have these products to use. I mean, that's why we buy them, don't we, guys? We buy them so that we can use them. And if we're always worried, at the end of the day, we are not, unless we're very lucky, working with like precious metals and things like that. We are working with paper and card. That is what we're working with a lot of the time. That's what we're doing. Let's stick this one down. And we're working with inks and things like that. These, doesn't matter if we've used them and it all goes completely wrong and we hate it and we decide, no, not going to use that, or that was a waste of my whole day. The main thing we've wasted is time, but even then we haven't, because from every project that we do, we will learn something, whatever that is. We will learn something. So like, just enjoy your products, guys. Just have fun and not... Oh yeah, I like that a lot. Don't worry about it too much. You know, as I said, I know these products are expensive, and I know for a lot of us, you know, we can't afford too many of them. I understand that, but also what's the point in spending any money on them if we're not going to use them? And the more we use them, the more we will learn the techniques or how they work with things, so the less we waste in the long haul. That's the way I see it. I just encourage everyone, just use what you have in your stash and play with it and have fun. Do you remember when we were kids, guys, and we would just, I don't know, get a new box of crayons or paints or a project or something, and immediately we'd open it and start playing with it? Or a lot of us would. Do you remember that? That's how we need to be with our craft projects, basically. We need to play a bit more with them and not worry as much. I think I want to bring in a bit of brown over here. And just enjoy it. Now, I'm saying this, but it's taken me a while to be able to do that. It's taken me a while to go, oh, I can cut up and rip up a piece of Tim Holtz ephemera and not worry about it. Because even the small pieces, because it's so hard to get here in the UK, it is getting better, but it's still quite hard. And because of the expense of them, I wouldn't even rip them up. I would be like, no, I'm just going to use it whole. And then I want to be able to see every part of it because I want it to be visible. And so it's taken me a while as well. So I completely understand people feeling that way. But also, you know, I had to learn that it's okay. It's okay to just play. That's what we do. That's what crafting is. It's a bit of play, a bit of fun, getting creative. My favourite projects, and probably the ones that come across best on camera, are always the projects I'm having the most fun with. Doesn't even matter if they're not going perfect. They're always the ones I'm having the most fun with. So let me bring that up. You can see I did add a few other colours, brought in some of that brown, but overall, I wonder if it looked better like this. You can see it better. Overall, they've blended into the background. It's blended. Now, I was going to bring in some ink down here, but I don't think I need it. What I do need to do is really go around this in some black ink. That's what I need to do. bring in that black ink. We've got our little ghosty. Maybe the witch used his bones. Reminds me of the old kids program and books, you know, Funny Bones. Maybe once I follow each arrow, the bones will pick themselves up. Or in Labyrinth, you know, where she's made lipstick marks on the paving stones, and as she goes past them, little creatures lift the paving stones up and change them around. But I'm thinking, as I use the bones, maybe the little funny bone skeleton guy comes and picks up his bones and rearranges them ahead for me. I don't know. That's where my thought process is going, because I want this to be cute, not just spooked. All right, now I do have, I don't know if I will like it or not, but I was going to add, so I have this crackle one. This is the mini stencil set 56. It's got these great eyes in them, which I love, and the stars. But it's also got this crackle one, which is THMS 171. And I was thinking of coming on with just a little bit of black texture paste, just in places, not too heavily. Just to add a little bit of, I could add my stamp set that I love to use, my crackle stamp set, but I thought, I don't use this stencil very much. This may even be the first time I've ever used it. So let's use it to add that crackle effect. And if I add some of the black texture paste, it just gives it a bit more texture. Do you see? Which I like. So we've added some of that too. Let's add a little bit here as well. I just wanted to use this stencil. Like I said, I don't think I've used it yet. So it's far too clean. My stencils are never this clean. Because, you know, they get used. And even when I wash them, there's usually some sign that it's been used. I'm going to take that off the path. I don't want it on the path. It's also on the leaves down there. Don't know if I want it on the leaves. So I'm just going to move that off a little bit, which is great because it can blend in. Brilliant. Okay. I kind of like that. Wondering about putting just a little bit more here. And then we got to dry this because I've got to then add the topper. Oh yeah, I didn't even put it down far enough, but it's okay. And then I think I will add a colour to it, but I don't know. I also had like this little butterfly. I was wondering about adding that on there. Possibly. We shall see. I am going to go and dry this and then we'll be back. Okay, so that's actually dried. I actually added a little bit more of the cracked pistachio because this is a lovely green, but there wasn't as much green there. So that's all dried. I'm wondering about adding the gold, or do we keep it black? Because the gold will really blend it down, and I don't know if I like it black or not. I say as I pick up the gold. But I could just add it very faintly in places. It doesn't have to be over all of the black. And I'll show you the gold. It's the same one I always use, but in case you're new, hi, hello. I want some of the gold. That almost looks like now, I don't know if you can see the gold. It almost looks like tree bark. You know, the cracking that you see. Oh, see, I wasn't even expecting that, and now I really like how blended in that is. It is the Art Alchemy Vintage Gold. That's the one I always use. I really love that now with that gold added. Oh yes, that helps blend it in and everything like that. Now, I have some words, but now looking at them, I don't know if they're too... What's the word I'm looking for? If it's too too black. I was wondering about... I had frightfully spooky. We have In the Light of the Moon. Now, I'm not saying it is Light of the Moon, but... Or Old Hallows Eve. Oh, I think I might have Old Hallows... Oh, not old. Because... Yeah, I might have that one. Let's have a look how I feel about that. I mean, I know it's not All Hallows Eve, but we're about to follow these and we're going to end up somewhere. So I kind of feel like this might work. These words are, again, a Release the Crafting Digital. I will leave them down below. Go check out their Etsy and their YouTube. It's not an advert. I just highly recommend them. Although if you're following me, you probably follow Release the Crafting. All Hallows Eve. Or I do like the term frightfully spooky because I don't know about you guys, but if I saw a load of skeleton bones that are arrows after, let's face it, the couple of days we've had in these woods, I'd feel like it was frightfully spooky. Although I'd still probably prefer them to the slobbering trolls. I'd be like, yeah, I can follow these bone arrows as long as no trolls come out. So we could do the frightfully spooky. Frightfully spooky. And now we've ripped that word spooky. Can we read the S still? Yes, we can. And theoretically, it just looks distressed, which is great. So we've got frightfully spooky, which I kind of feel is real. Come on, let's be honest. It's going to be real, guys. Now, do we want some cheesecloth underneath? And I don't want it in the green. I wanted something that would stand out more because we have used so much green on here that it might be nice to pick up some of the white that the bones also have. I think I need more of this cheesecloth. I'm hoping I've got some right beside me. Frightfully spooky. That's the one we ended up going with. Yeah, I know. I was talking about, oh, we're going to use All Hallows Eve, la da 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 da. And then I did a me. And I got distracted by the other thing that I prefer. Oh, my hands are so dirty. That's just the way it is with crafting, with inks and glues and texture paste. So, frightfully spooky. I was wondering about putting them down here, but there's all the room up here. And that just works for me. Frightfully spooky. Do, 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 do. Love it. Do, 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 do. The bones, the bones, follow the bones. I don't know. There's a lot in this story which is just the opposite to how I'd behave in any single way. Right, so I think we're almost finished, guys. I was going to also put some black splatters on here, but I don't think it needs it. I think we're almost finished. Now, I want a tab. So, I've already put my word on the back, my number, because this tab is going to be a little bit chunkles. Not as chunky as the witch's shelf, but it's going to be chunky. So, I've got some actual bark here. And I thought that would go on so well. We are in the woodlands. And I just feel like that would look amazing if I can get it the way I like it. I think I like it that way. I think that would look amazing as a topper. That's what I feel. So we've got my hot glue gun and we're just going to hope that I can actually get this stuck on here. I hate using hot glue, but I think this is the only way this is going to stick on, especially as it is a little bit, not all of it's sticking to the, like it's, what's the word I'm looking for? It's different layers. It's chunky in different ways. So I don't even know if that is the way I wanted it or not. Oh, we've put it on now. I'm not going to fight with it. Oh, hot glue. I hate you. Yeah, all the strands. Now, sometimes that works. Like on one of my tags, it worked for the cobwebs, but otherwise it's just absolutely annoying. But sometimes that's the only thing you can use, depending on it. So that is day 28's tag, guys. I'm going to leave a picture here and show you if it glows in the dark or not. But let's get them together and tell the story of the next two prompts. I feel like it looks better when it's on the tea stain paper. Okay. So, prompt 27. The old lady's given me a cup of tea. No, that goes there. The old lady in the lovely little witchy cottage has given me a cup of tea. Prompt 27. Where am I going? Are you coming with me? I exclaim. She simply smiles at me and places a note in my hand and tells me to read it when I arrive. Prompt 28. I'm feeling woozy. I blink a few times and the cottage has gone. I'm back on the path in the woods and before me are bones pointing the way ahead. Follow the bones, follow the bones, follow the bones. Still wondering if I want like All Hallows Eve down here. I don't need it, do I? It's fine as it is, Belle. Leave it be. So they are the tags for days 27 and 28. Just 3 more tags to go. Where's the story going? If you've got the prompts, you know. But I'm wondering about the butterfly. Does it need a butterfly? No, it doesn't. Leave it alone, Belle. Does it need a bug? No, it doesn't. Leave it alone. Okay. So, yes, they're the tags. I really hope you enjoyed them. Please do check out all the links below. Let me know what you think. And I will be back soon with the last 3 tags. I don't know if that'll be in one video or I'll split it over 2. I guess we'll know when we know. But thank you so much for watching. I will be back soon. And until next time, guys, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having lots and lots of spooky, crafty fun. Bye for now.